Welcome to Panzer Campaign's Rumyantsev 43 Clash Bogodukov Scenario, Episode 3. I'm sure most of you will remember we're at the 0400 hours turn, which was the arrival of our reinforcements. So these are our arrived units. We'll just hit place all. So we have some units here in the west. And in the north. Right, and this is obviously our main strike force. So this is how we see the situation so far, is that we're going to lose, we've already lost these lower three victory locations, so we're going to make an attempt to take Konstantinovka and Alexandrovka, I would suggest. So we'll have a look at the victory points. Wow, so they're at 815, so they don't need very much more to avoid our defeat. So we really need to knock over these two victory locations, I think, to ensure victory. We haven't done too bad actually on the exchange of men and machines, if you like, very similar point scoring. In fact, the Axis have lost more vehicles, so overall that's quite a satisfactory result from the Soviet perspective. So we need to continue that, but start killing a few Germans off and take these victory locations. So let's get on with that. In the past I've mentioned just how strong the German units tend to be, particularly the SS units. So a common issue for the Soviet player is how to defeat superior German units or formations. The high morale, often A or B, allows these units to recover quickly from fatigue and losses. The Soviet player should employ a strategy of degrading German morale in the first instance. So morale loss is caused by isolation, medium fatigue, high fatigue, when they become low ammo or fuel, and when they are disrupted due to combat. And to recover from fatigue, a unit must not move, change travel or rail mode, fire, assault, be fired upon with a result other than no effect, or be assaulted for a complete game turn to achieve a level of fatigue recovery. And during night turns this value is doubled. Now some of these factors like fatigue, when you're playing with fog or war, you'll just have to have a best guess. But the most important one there I want you to consider is regarding fatigue recovery and not be fired upon with a result other than no effect. So even one man can stop the unit or formation from recovering. So that's really important in longer scenarios, particularly when you have dug in formations and you're trying to dig them out, is just keep pecking away and getting that one man combat result, because then they don't get any fatigue recovery, and eventually fatigue builds up and then that can cause disruption down the track. Now for these shorter scenarios, the most obvious one is the first one, that is isolating the German units so that they lose a level of morale. And once you isolate them, if they fire, then they usually go low ammo or low fuel, or they can, depending on the probability of the roll. So that will be our main tactic going forward from this point, is to cause degradation of the standard of the enemy units by isolation. Rather than labour through all the turns, this is the summary at the end of the Soviet 0400 hours turn, and this is up in the north in the area of Das Reich. You can see there in the east We've effectively encircled that engineer unit there in the centre, and that unit is basically toast. He's isolated, and the other units there are probably looking a bit grim. Moving to the centre of the map, you see that one German armoured unit. He could escape at the moment if he took to his legs, and I think the group of German units to the west of Alexandrova are in all sorts of issues there. So you can see I've just basically compressed in on the German units, and it's going to be a mass isolation event happening. In the south of the map I was trying a similar thing, but the Totenkopf units are much stronger at this stage. Nevertheless, I've closed in to see what the German response will be. I'm sure you can see at this stage the Axis position is quite hopeless. All their northern units, the Das Reich is basically isolated and will have no offensive opportunities available to them. So this scenario is probably a good one for the Soviet player, and that teaches them how to run two strategies in the scenario, more of a containment strategy in the south and an encirclement strategy in the north. So often in these games it is that way, and I have to say the AI in other scenarios can give you a very tough puzzle. So this was quite an easy one really for the Soviet player against the Axis AI, but in closer conditions where the defence is much more in depth, it can be a much tougher puzzle for the Soviet player to crack, because your units tend to be all blocked up behind the Axis defence. But once the Soviet units get in the clear and have a successful breakthrough, this is the sort of thing that it can do. It's just that envelopment and that control of large parts of the battlefield, or the board if you like. So keep an eye out for that. So the lesson in this one is that the Soviet player can win by movement rather than outright firepower, and while the German can have local superiority in strength, it can be contained to a degree. And of course all these different scenarios put you in different situations. Often with scenarios, if you do lose, it's because you haven't applied the correct strategy. In some scenarios you just have to take to flight, and most of the scenario you end up bolting away from the advancing opponent, usually until you get to a space where your reinforcements come on the board, and then perhaps you get an opportunity to counterattack. So sometimes even a delaying and containment strategy can be incorrect, depending on the design of the particular scenario or the circumstance that the scenario designer is trying to portray to the players. So I hope you enjoyed my presentation on Clash Bogodukov. I don't think there's much sense in going too far down the path from here. Hopefully next time I'll find a scenario where we get a tougher battle from the AI, and let me tell you, there are plenty of scenarios where you have to play them numerous times to figure out how to solve that particular puzzle. So we'll see how we go. Enjoy your gaming, and I'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.